So around 2:15, we received a report of a fire, and we received a fire alarm activation in Mile High Stadium. When our crews were responding, they noticed a plume of black smoke that was coming over the top of the stadium itself, so we knew that there was a pretty good fire. Our crews found that there was fire that was originating in the suite area on level 4, and there was also fire that was penetrating part of the seats on the 3rd level. This type of plastic that the seats are composed of burns with not only significant ferocity, very large flames, but also produces a tremendous amount of black smoke due to the synthetics and petroleum products that are used. That meant that that fire was going to need a great deal of help from our firefighters, as the sprinkler systems that had been activated could not get ahead of the fire. Our crews realized that they needed assistance, so they started a second alarm assignment. We had approximately 75 firefighters on scene at the pinnacle or the height of the fire. Our firefighters were able to put together a firefighting approach that was able to extinguish the fire in as quick as time as possible. We think that we have the main body of fire under control at this time, but we're looking to ensure that fire hasn't penetrated anywhere else. As I mentioned, this fire burns very hot, and that could auto-expose, or it could cause fire to extend into other areas of the stadium. We're lucky to have had the capability to get ahead of the fire, and we are lucky that the sprinkler system started to hold the fire in check. But anybody that was responding to the scene around 2:30 saw that this was a significant fire. Historically, we had a very similar fire when we tore down the old Mile High Stadium, where the plastic seats also caught on fire. So our firefighters have an experience with this type of firefight. We were lucky, though, that there were no firefighters injured, and I'm not aware of any injuries to any employee personnel that were working in the stadium itself. So we're lucky there, and that showed how disciplined Mile High Stadium's personnel were. In fact, security assisted us to get to the fire level. Right now we're in an investigative phase. Our fire investigators are here to try to determine what actually caused such a significant fire. And of course, once their analysis is done, I'll be able to provide that. But we won't know anything in the short term. Might I ask or answer any questions that you guys have?
We've heard that since it was the off season, there could have been work being done with welding on seats or anything like that. Is that being looked at as a cause of the fire? Was there any welding being done today? I'm
unaware of any maintenance that was being done, but our fire investigators are going to go through a thorough analysis of not only the fire area, but the things that actually were taking place in that environment. I did see that there was some type of event going on the 2nd level. I don't think that had anything to do with it, but our concern would be that there are people that are inside of a structure like Mile High Stadium while a significant fire is going on. So the personnel here did their due diligence in ensuring that everybody was evacuated. So also what I can say is the stadium was not unoccupied.
Anybody get hurt?
Again, I have no reported injuries, and let's hope it stays that way.
Do you know how big of an area was damaged? And it looks from your pictures that there's a pretty good amount of damage there.
I would estimate over 1,000 square foot, easy. And that's just a quick estimation of the area that I was adjacent to while the firefight was taking place.
Did they have to use any specific tools other than water, any foam or anything?
No, luckily we didn't. And of course, foam would help in this type of petroleum fire, but we did not have to utilize any foam. But that's a great question.
When they're running inside, I mean, this is not your typical structure fire. Are there inherent challenges with dealing with a fire somewhere like this?
You know, I'm proud to say that the Denver Fire Department is very well experienced. Again, I talked about the historic approach that we have already had years ago when Old Mile High Stadium was here. We operate and fight fires in high rises that would involve stair climbs like we had today. And anytime you have a fire on an upper level, you're going to have to move a great deal of equipment to that environment. So our firefighters brought a number of heavy pieces of hose and equipment, saws and the like, to be able to help them extinguish this fire.
I imagine something this large obviously attracts a lot of attention when people are driving by and seeing it. You probably got a lot of 911 calls as well.
Yes, and I'm sure that our firefighters who are in dispatch were able to handle that. And it's always important, regardless of the fact that there might have been other 911 phone calls, is that the people in City and County of Denver don't hesitate to call 911 at the first sign of a fire or emergency.
Anything else that we've missed?
No, I don't think so. Any other questions? Any questions? Any questions?
How many people
So, yes, sir. Oh, did
how many people are in the stadium at the time?
unknown at this time, but I'll hopefully I would imagine that the stadium management will be able to provide that type of information. For us, we came in, people were leaving the building, so it's going to take a guess. But again, there was an event going on a second level, so I'm sure that there was at least 100 people.
You mentioned the sprinkler systems. I imagine that there's sprinkler systems on the areas that are indoors and covered by
Yes.
overhangs. Is that correct?
So there were sprinklers in the suite area that were affected immediately by the fire. In the seated areas on the third level that are diagonal, as we've all been in stadiums, the fire just fed the next level and the next level, and it really compounded the whole situation. But we do not have sprinklers in the open seated areas.
Do you happen to know if there were any upgrades being done to the fire system or the
No,
fire?
I'm not aware, but I can tell you the sprinklers were working because I saw them and I saw that they were working to attack the fire. But again, the significance of a fire like this, with the amount of petroleum products that are burning, it creates significant heat. And those sprinklers did as well as they could, and our firefighters were able to put in place hose lines to reduce the amount of damage. So I'm very thankful of our efforts in terms of trying to keep the damage to a minimum.
You know better than I do on how these things work. When all of the sprinkler systems are activated, does that cause some damage to the rest of the stadium?
Well, and that's a fallacy. Not all the sprinklers throughout the Mile High Stadium were activated. Only the areas that were affected by that fire would activate, so that all the water and all the energy was focused on that fire environment.
Final question for me: are there any structural challenges?
Now, that's going to be something that we're going to have to look at. We're going to work with the building department, of course, stadium management, to ensure that there wasn't more damage other than the chairs, the environment in the suite area, the glass, and so on. So that is certainly something that's going to be evaluated.
In the days to come.
Yep. Right. Any other questions? Hey,
They're
Greg,
taking
how
theirs off,
are
we're
you?
putting ours on.
All right.
I think we're good.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. Let me get you this.